So first off, I just want to do a quick introduction here for everyone. Today we're doing a Windows 8 for Beginners class, and I want to quickly introduce everyone that's here up on stage with me. This is probably the largest team I've had helping me teach a class in recent memory. My colleague here in the middle, this is Wesley Howard. He's our lead web developer at our company. He's also a Google Apps specialist that helps me with implementing the Google Apps product. And all the way at the end is a very special guest here tonight. He's a longtime friend of mine. He is an IT specialist who works at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. He's an IT guru, and he's here to provide us some information and help out with the presentation that we have. What we're going to do that's a little different about today, I think the laptops are even being handed around. We have a Windows 8 laptop that we're passing around, so you can go ahead and give it a try if you want to try some of the things that we're doing up on the screen here. If you didn't bring your laptop, the class didn't require you to bring any laptop, so don't worry, you don't have to have a system with you. Everything we're going to be showing is just so you can consume it, rewatch it later, and when it comes time to use some of the functionality, hopefully you can go ahead and apply it to your own system at home. But this is more so meant to be just a general overview, present you with some of the changes in Windows 8. I know the media and everyone's been talking about all the scary stuff in this new version of Windows. It's not that bad, and we'll show you all those things as we keep going here today. Before I forget, my company, FireLogic, we're based right out of Park Ridge. We are a technology consulting / computer repair / training company. We do a lot of different things these days. But pretty much anything related to the computer system, we can handle. And actually, my colleague Wesley just ran in. He was handling an emergency just down the street for one of our customers, so he made it in the nick of time. So without further ado, let me keep moving here on our quick presentation. And just so everyone knows, there's just going to be about 8 to 10 slides that I'm going to go over basics about. Then we're going to go into part 2, which is our start screen, the new start menu. And then we're going to go into the traditional desktop and some of the changes that are available there. So it's a 3-part presentation for today. And as I said, you can feel free to interject if you have a small question, something you just don't understand completely. Feel free to ask it. But if it's something longer, wait till the end and we'll address it with everyone in the Q&A session. Okay? So if you didn't grab an agenda, those extra copies are there. I told everyone it's a 3-part presentation that we're going to have here today. And like I said, the best part is we're going to be doing live demos pretty much the entire rest of the time. So after about 10 minutes or so, everything you see up on the screen here is from a Windows 8 system. So you'll be seeing everything that we're talking about. We're not just going to be popping slides up for you up here on the screen. So Windows 8, what exactly is it? Just for a little background for everyone, this is just the latest version of Windows that has just been released. It's actually been out for about a month now. If you go out and buy any new laptop or desktop computer today, it's going to come with Windows 8. So I'm glad everyone has come here, especially if you're going to be getting a new system in the short term, or especially with Christmas coming around. I know a lot of people are planning upgrades for old systems that are running, outdated versions of Windows like XP. So Windows 8 is what you're going to be getting primarily. It is a replacement to Windows 7. You can still get some systems with Windows 7. So some customers ask us, I have to get a Windows 7 machine because I just can't use Windows 8 right now, or it's for my business. Yes, we can still get Windows 7. But for the most part, Windows 8 has taken over for on the PC side of things. There is no more start menu, so we'll go into that in a little bit. And while some people may not like it, we'll go ahead and show you some of the things that are nice about it, that I actually like about it. And we'll also show you how to get back the classic start menu if you just can't get used to the new start screen. So there is a way to revert back. Microsoft doesn't want you to know about it, but we'll show you the quick trick. It's a simple download to get that working. So how do you get Windows 8 and how much does it cost? Some of the basics again. There are 2 ways primarily to get Windows 8 today. You're either going to purchase a computer for Christmas or just in general from the store, and it's going to come with Windows 8, or you're going to go ahead and get a box copy from the store, or you're going to purchase the download from Microsoft and upgrade a Vista or a Windows 7 system for yourself. So those are the two ways to get it. We're recommending don't really do this. Don't really go out and get the box copy and upgrade it. While it should work fine on most systems that are out today, we're telling people just wait till your next upgrade cycle, get it with your new system. It'll be a lot less hassle for you, and it'll be a nice clean upgrade process. So should you get it, as I said, all new PCs are going to have it, and the recommendation we're making, don't upgrade to it unless you're a power user, you know what you're doing, or you're willing to call us if something goes wrong. There are a few additions that we have for the new Windows 8, and this is something, again, that some people are confused about, especially with the introduction of the new Surface tablet that Microsoft came out with, and we'll go over that in a slide very shortly. There are basically 4 versions of Windows 8, so Windows RT is the one that only runs on a specific version of that Surface tablet that I just mentioned, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. The 2 most common copies of Windows 8 that you're going to see out there for your own usage, it's going to be the Basic Edition. For basic users, it costs about $100 or so to upgrade to that. And Windows 8 Pro is the one that a little bit more beefier machines come on, that it comes on, as well as for business users for connecting it to a work domain, things like that. There is a high-end edition called Enterprise, but that's only for big business and government and things like that. So Surface tablet, you've probably heard about Surface in the news. It's Microsoft's attempt to counter Apple and the Android tablets that are out there. It's a first-party device, which means it's made by Microsoft and supported directly by Microsoft, unlike most computers out there, which Microsoft doesn't make the computer. So as you'll see, you go out and you get an HP or a Lenovo or a Dell system. There's no computer that's made by Microsoft, so this is the first time they've made their own computing device. It runs the version of Windows 8 called Windows RT. It's a stripped-down version of Windows 8 that just allows you to use applications from the new Microsoft Store that you can download. And it has some pre-installed things, like it has Office 2013 on it that you can use, so Microsoft included that for you. But it's a limited edition of Windows. It doesn't support the traditional applications that you might be used to. So if you're using Quicken or anything else that you install on your home PC, you cannot put that on this version of the Surface. So that's one thing I want to make you aware of. If you're planning on going and getting one of these $500 devices and thinking you're going to replace your desktop machine at home, you've got another thing coming. It's not going to do it. It's specifically made just for certain applications developed for this version of the Surface. Now there will be a better version coming out for $900. It's called the Surface Pro. It comes out in January, and that one will be like a Windows computer. You can install anything you can put on your current computer right now. So that's the better version. Well, some people call it the more expensive, worse version, but for in terms of flexibility and having that functionality of installing any programs you want, you have to wait until January for that. The only trade-off is with that Surface Pro version, you're going to sacrifice battery life and weight. So the Surface RT, this cheaper version, has about 9 to 10 hours of battery life. This version, the Surface Pro, is going to have about 4 to 5 hours of battery life, and it's going to weigh a little bit more. So that's the trade-off you'll have to make, and that's something to take into consideration if you're looking into one of these tablets. And just one more thing about the Surface, you can only purchase it at the Microsoft Store. They have a store in Oak Brook and downtown Chicago, or on their website. So you can't go into Best Buy and purchase one of these. They're only sold directly through Microsoft. Some of the biggest changes in Windows 8, obviously the biggest thing that everyone's talking about right now is the Start menu being replaced by the Start screen. As you can see here, oh, Wes, can you actually just go back to the presentation? So the Start screen has taken over for what used to be the Start menu, and yes, it is a change. It's a little shocking at first. It took me aback. It was a little bit tough for me to use it, for my first few days, but now it's almost like I've been using it for quite a while. So it's not that difficult once you get the hang of it. It's just like when we had Windows 95 and it was the first time we had the Start menu to begin with. It's that kind of a change. The other thing we have is a difference in programs. So traditional programs that you all know and love, that you've been installing on your computer for so many years, those are called desktop applications. And there's a new kind of application just made for the start screen, and they're called Modern UI applications. They're only available through the Microsoft Store, and there's an icon that you can access it, and Wesley's going to go ahead and show that to everyone when he gets into the Modern UI in just a little bit. So we'll show you how to use that, how to get in there, how to search for programs that you want to download. It's pretty neat. If you use an iPad and if you've used their App Store or on an iPhone, it's pretty much like that, but for a Microsoft device. And this is the first time that Microsoft has done touch the right way. So it's an interesting experience. It's definitely fresh and new, but it is a learning curve. Some of the things that have changed in Windows 8, some of the benefits that you get with Windows 8. It's very stable. That's one of the things that I've noticed. It's very hard to crash a Windows 8 machine. I have yet to see a blue screen. If you've experienced one of those with your Windows computer, you might not ever see that on Windows 8. It's pretty darn stable, and it really doesn't go down. It boots very quickly and it shuts down very quickly. So that old lagging system you have that takes you 4 minutes and you can make a cup of coffee before it starts up, you're not going to have that chance with Windows 8 because it really is the fastest version of Windows that Microsoft's ever made. It also is the most secure version of Windows. So if you've had a lot of problems with viruses and spyware and malware, all those things that we help people clean off on a weekly basis on those old versions of Windows XP and such, it's gotten a lot better now. There's a big feature called Secure Boot in Windows 8, which pretty much does a pre-boot checkup on the state of the system and doesn't allow those nasties to start up when you turn on your machine. So it's definitely a big change in favor of consumers. Again, we mentioned the touch screen and the touch aspect of Windows 8. This is a very big change and one of the largest things you'll notice in Windows 8. But if you do have a touchscreen laptop or a touchscreen computer, there's a lot of all-in-ones now they're selling at the stores. It's a computer in the screen, so it's just like the Mac desktop computers that have been around for a few years. That's the Microsoft equivalent now. There's a new way that they handle printers. So I know so many people that have horror stories with trying to install printers or other accessories with Windows. There's a new way that it handles devices now that makes it a lot easier. You really don't have to even use that software disk that comes with your printer. You pretty much plug it in and it should work right out of the box. The Windows Store, as I mentioned, that's the place where you're going to get all those applications for that new start screen that's in Windows 8. And those are all accessible and downloadable directly from the Windows Store. Some are free, some are paid. It's a mixed bag, just like the Apple Store is. Another nice part for people that have kids in the home, especially young kids, and they're worried about web browsing and them going to naughty websites. There is a very nice web filtering functionality in here that I'll show everyone where you can find it in Windows in the control panel, and it's called Family Safety, and it does a very good job of where you can control what kind of level of websites kids should be able to go to, from no filtering to very restricted filtering. And so that's a very nice feature, so you don't have to purchase software like NetNanny that we've recommended for so many years. There's a feature called Refresh where you can pretty much reinstall your entire copy of Windows without even having to lose all your data. So that you can never do that in the past. Go ahead. Yes?
Let me get back to the front page. Stuck on.
Wesley will help you really quickly. So the refresh allows you to do a reinstallation, get rid of any problems that you're having, but all of your data is kept in place. So that is the first time that you've ever been able to do that. If you use multiple monitors at home or your home office or your place of work, that's been made a lot easier in this new release. And also battery life. My own laptop, I used to get about 5 hours, 15 minutes of battery life. I get almost 6 hours of battery life now in Windows 8. So it's substantially quite an increase. The other big question everyone has, is my old hardware going to work? Is my software going to work that I used to use? What Microsoft's saying, for the most part, if it worked in Windows 7, it's going to work in Windows 8. So the compatibility issues that have been around, that hit when Windows Vista and Windows 7 came out, those have all been worked out, and compatibility really isn't that big of an issue anymore. But again, we ask everyone, if you're going to be upgrading an old system from Vista or 7 to the new Windows 8, they have a compatibility center you can go to. You type in whatever hardware you have, like any printers or software that you use on your current computer, and if you're wondering if it's going to work, you can go to the compatibility center, type it in, it'll say yes or no. It's very black and white. It'll tell you exactly what and won't work with the new system. Russ, can you go?
One thing I do want to say as far as compatibility, I've seen Windows 8 work on systems as old as older Dell Pentium 4s. So as far as the hardware requirements for Windows 8, they're actually vastly improved over Vista and 7, and in some cases are closer to Windows XP.
Okay, so this is the picture of the new start screen, and this ends my first part, introduction. I'm going to let Wesley take over the stage, and he's going to show us exactly how to utilize that new, not start menu, the start screen. Sorry.
All right, well, for starters, the start screen, formerly called Metro, Google changed its name Microsoft changed its name due to some licensing issues, but right now they're calling it the Modern UI. This particular interface is focused on tiles, and if anyone here has a Windows phone, it has a similar sort of interface to it, and they've also started to transition their Xbox to a similar system also. Now, what you have is a whole bunch of different tiles that you can move around the screen, put into different locations, and of course get more apps from the Microsoft App Store. All these different applications, they interact with you on a live basis. For example, in Photos, if we had more than one photo in the photo view, it would continuously rotate through them while you hover over. You can receive news notifications on your desktop and change the way that these different applications interact with you. So where commonly you're used to a static desktop, the new interface allows you to have a greater level of interactivity that you wouldn't have with the older versions of Windows. In addition, all your pre-installed applications on your computer are automatically present on the new Start menu. For example, in this case, we have a newer version of Microsoft Word 2013, which has just recently launched. We also have a few other third-party applications that aren't necessarily Microsoft related. And any of these can be launched from the Start menu, and in the event that they're a common desktop UI rather than the new interface, let's say for example we clicked on Skype, it would automatically bring you to the desktop interface and launch it in the exact same interface that you've known and loved for years.
Something to note also is the fact that there is a Metro side which has those apps, and then there's still the side you know and love with all your regular applications. So that's important to note.
Yes. In the case of Internet Explorer, for example, who here has used the Internet Explorer before? There's two versions of Internet Explorer that come with Windows 8. There's the desktop version that interacts just like your common one on Windows 7 or Windows Vista. And then there's the full screen version for the Metro interface. Now, in this case, we don't currently have the Internet Explorer installed for Metro, but if you were to, for example, to run it, it would bring the application into a full screen view that interacts with the new UI. Now, some of you are wondering, how do I get new applications onto my Start menu? Microsoft is going to take a similar approach to what Apple has done in recent years, and they've introduced the Microsoft App Store. Now, this is a store where you can purchase apps to interface with your new UI. For example, ESPN has an application. You can have a banking app on your Start menu. The games, pretty much any sort of applications you could possibly want. There's even a Skype version for the Metro interface that will allow you to list all the people that you want to communicate with.
And many of these applications do update automatically, or will have an option for you to update. So if there's a bug with them, it's not working right, they will update. Which is
who here in the past has had the issue where all your applications are constantly telling you this needs to be updated, this needs to be updated? I mean, I have personally used Windows before in the past, and I know I'm constantly being nagged by all these different update screens, and it can be a little overwhelming. With the new UI, if you purchase an application through the App Store, many of the applications will take care of themselves. So you no longer have to worry about updating them on your end because they'll take care of themselves, which is the responsible way that it probably should have always been. Now, for example, if we were to download the ESPN app, this is a free application. There's many free apps in the Microsoft Application Store, and all you do is you go ahead and install it. It'll display a little bar across the top while your app is loading, and then it'll bring you back to the App Store as your application installs. Also, we have 6 pending updates that we can view. So right now we have the game Cut the Rope, Calculator Free, and Reader that can all be updated. We'll go ahead and, if we were to click install, it would go ahead and update all of our applications for us automatically without too much trouble. But in this case, for the sake of this demonstration and the library's internet connection speed, we won't run the updates for right now. Now, what we have right now is the ESPN app that we had just downloaded. You can move it from the end of the screen to any portion of your start menu and simply click it, and it will bring you to a full screen experience, whereas before you'd be limited by the start menu or all the other bars that are on your screen. So the goal of the new interface really is to give you more screen real estate to get more work done. Now let's say a lot of people ask me, once I'm in this interface, how do I get back to the UI or the desktop that you wanted to launch a new application or come back to the application you were working before? To launch the start menu, all you have to do, does anyone remember where the old start button was? Lower left hand corner. So all you do is you go to the lower left hand corner, hover over it for a second, and the start menu comes right up. So think of this as a full replacement for the start menu with 4 to 5 times more features and capability than the old one ever had. And of course, if you do want to get to your desktop, all you do is you click desktop in this upper left hand corner icon here, and it'll bring you back to the desktop.
So then you do need a mouse.
No, you do not. There's gestures that you can use with your fingers. For example, if you wanted to get rid of an application and you're using a tablet, all you do is swipe down. If you're trying to bring up the start menu in the lower left-hand corner, you just tap the corner and the start menu would come up. There's also, on the right-hand corner, we have what's called the Charms menu. This is Microsoft's new sort of way of allowing you to start and stop the PC. To shut down or restart your PC, you just go to the upper or lower right-hand corner, and this Charms menu will come up, and then you just hit Settings, and then you have your power options that allow you to sleep, shut down, or restart your PC. You also have the ability to view any notifications you have or hide them, adjust the brightness of your display, control your sound. So everything that little start bar in the lower right-hand corner would do with the clock and everything else is now controlled by the Charms menu. And once again, the point of all of this is to really give you more room to get more work done.
You have a question?
Yeah, if you have a computer, let's say with Vista or Windows 7 on it, right, and you put 8 on, does it automatically turn it into a touchscreen?
No.
No.
The hardware itself has to support it. And if you buy a new computer, many of these new computers now are going to have a touchscreen built in to it. Really, you'd have to talk to someone at the store if you're going to pick one up, make sure that they have that capability. Many of the laptops may have a touchscreen on them. Many of the tablets that come with it obviously are going to be touchscreen. So it really depends on what device you are planning to get.
One thing you can do if you're planning to use Windows 8 with an existing PC and you really want that touch screen interface, there are digitizers, touch screen digitizers that you can hang over your existing monitor. The only downside is that those have to be calibrated because they're sort of generalized and not necessarily meant for your monitor. But once they're set up, it would give you that same sort of touch interface that you have with your existing PC, so that you can interact with your old PC without having to purchase a new one.
So if you put 8 on an existing laptop, to load one of these programs, you use your mouse?
You can still
Yes.
use the mouse. You could still interact with it as you typically would.
Just as we are right now. Now, one of the biggest things that, especially for kids, that has emerged from this new interface is the fact that games are built right into your apps. This is one game. It's called Cover. And the way that this works is you pretty much have all these different levels. Now, who's seen this game before? Yeah. Basically, all that you do, you allow the guy to now, once we're done playing this game, I'm going to show you guys how to get rid of it. All you do is go to the top, swipe down, and throw it away. And you're back to the start screen. And you can do this with any Metro style app at any time, and it'll allow you to close out of the application. So say for...
If you have touch, you do that with your finger.
if you were on a touch screen, you do it with your finger. If you have a mouse, you'd use the mouse. In this case, I'll bring up the Fox News app one more time. And all you do is you grab it from the top, pull it to the bottom, and it brings you back to the start menu. One other feature of the interface, if you go to the upper left-hand corner,
Actually, what he's doing now, you can theoretically switch between all the open applications just by hovering over the upper left-hand corner and then tapping.
You're supposed to be able to swipe down. Just trying to remind myself. There we go. All right. Let me just double check that gesture. Was it working? All right. If you click in the upper left-hand corner, then hold to the left, what it'll do is bring up a list of all the applications that were running on the Metro interface, so you can quickly switch between them without having to go through click, click, click. So if you have like 5, 6 applications open, this little bar on the left-hand side here would allow you to instantly switch to, say, the store, the desktop, or automatically back to your start menu.
What's important to note is the corners. Microsoft really tried to focus on the whole idea of making it easy through going through the corners. So that's really important to note first.
I mean, basically the way to think about it, lower left, your start. Upper left, it sort of allows you to cycle through the apps that you have open. Upper right, lower right, all control your control panel items, so volume, brightness, start, shut down. All that is controlled by the right side. All your user interface elements are going to be controlled by the left, and trashing an app you just drag down. There's many, many more hotkeys that, or gestures that Microsoft has built into the operating system, but the list is so extensive that it's really hard to go through it all in one demonstration. They have listed all of them. I believe there's over 96 different gestures for Windows 8. Go ahead.
Do you have to buy a special mouse to operate?
No.
No?
Your standard setup at home, you should be able to theoretically just set this up and use it.
Laptop, yeah.
Yeah, a mouse from 1994 will work just as well as a touch screen for this.
You could use your touchpad on the laptop. The same setup. You don't need anything special to use Windows 8.
But if you travel and use your battery, you don't need the mouse. You can just, let's say for a couple hours.
You could use the touchpad, yes.
Touch.
Yeah.
It won't work necessarily touch. If you have a laptop, generally that's older, it obviously won't have a touch screen on there. You'd still have to use the trackpad with a 2-button click.
Sony, like a 2-year-old
A Vaio? Yeah, that would work just fine. One thing to keep in mind, if you are going to use this operating system with a touchpad, one thing I will recommend that you do, please enable, and under the control panel, what's called one finger click. Now what this will do is it'll allow you to tap with your trackpad, and it'll allow you to sort of mimic the same actions that you would on a touch screen, but with your touchpad. So if you were to click on your touchpad and drag down, it would mimic you touching the screen, but on your trackpad. Otherwise, you'd actually have to physically hold down the click button. This works really well with the Apple laptop that's running Windows 8 or the Sony laptops, for example, that have the larger trackpads, because then you have sort of this mimic touchscreen interface, but on your trackpad. So you get a lot of the same feeling that you would from a tablet.
I had a question. I bought Windows 8 and I have all the interfaces, the user interface. There's a mail one, and the mail slot goes directly in months he's created Microsoft an email account.
Yes.
And is there any way to assign another email account to that?
Oh boy. I've personally had some issues with the Mail app. I know that there's a version of Thunderbird that's going to be coming out that's Metro capable. That, quite honestly, I feel has more functionality to it than the Microsoft version. I'd honestly try that as a solution for the time being.
We could probably work with you later at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a. It's
More
really
fun,
designed
more
to be.
fun.
It's really designed to be more tailored towards Hotmail, and the enterprise version of Mail has more features and it's more tailored towards enterprise.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering if desktop mail, figured you could reassign it, but apparently not.
No, what you have Home Edition, correct?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. Professional would probably allow you to have a little more functionality. Now, one thing I'm going to go through is the settings menu. On the right-hand side, we have the settings, and of course, you have all these controls here that you're used to from the start menu. And you also have the ability, to change PC settings. So this is sort of like your control panel for Metro. There's one for the desktop also that Derek will be going over. But this allows you to change your interface. So for example, right now we're on Honeycomb. We can go ahead and change it to Piano.
So as soon as the computer boots up, you can change the picture to whatever you want. You can even browse for a picture of your family, for instance. So it really kind of gives you a more personalized experience. And that's really what kind of Microsoft wants you to be. You want a personal computer. And that's one cool thing about Windows 8.
I have Yahoo Mail. Should I switch over to Hotmail then?
I'd
Microsoft
switch
Mail?
over to Gmail, but that's a whole nother issue.
We'll
save that for the
yeah.
end.
Okay.
A few of the other ones, you can pretty much change your desktop to look like anything that you want, and it's really flexible as far as the themes. This is one of the sticking points with Microsoft, and they started to fix it with Windows 7. With Windows 8, it really, really is customizable. You can download more themes from their website in addition to these ones that are built in. And I'm going to show you guys just one more. You can pretty much just change it to look exactly the way that you want. You can put pictures in the background if you like. It really is that flexible.
And it's really important to note that this control panel is for the Metro side, not necessarily for the whole computer.
Correct. One other thing that you can do, and this will be computer-wide, you can modify your users. You can switch to a Microsoft account. You can change your password, change your picture. Derek, in this case, has a picture of himself. You can create a PIN for your computer that would be a PIN for your account.
And one thing to note also is when you sign into, if you have a Microsoft account, doesn't matter if it's necessarily anything special, the account itself can save the settings. So the settings you make on Metro will save over to any computer you log in with that account.
That's one of the biggest advantages of Windows 8. That's true. If you have a Microsoft account set up on the computer and you download an application on your laptop, you can then go to your desktop PC or your tablet and have that exact same application download, because there's going to be a list of all the pre-installed applications. If you have a user account on one computer, the same settings would apply to the other users that share that Microsoft login. So if you say, for example, bookmark something in Internet Explorer on one PC and for your user, and you have that user on your desktop, you can then go to the desktop and that save shortcut would still be there. So it sort of has this cloud sort of mentality to it, where your account is taken with you, whether or not you're on a phone, an Xbox, a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, it doesn't matter. Your user account is your user account. The device doesn't matter. It's kind of an abstract way of thinking from what we're kind of used to most of us. Your personal computer is just that. It's your personal computer. And Microsoft's sort of bringing you into this new world where your user account is what really matters and the device isn't as important as it once was. The other thing is there's all these different cloud services that they offer where, for example, with Google SkyDrive, you can store your files on Google servers. So if you save a document on your Windows 8 machine and you have SkyDrive set up, it would then automatically show up on your other accounts. So there's sort of this versatility where you can sort of have a transparent device experience.
And show us how to change the background. You said, okay, show us.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the settings for the background are all controlled
On the right side.
and by the right side. You just simply go to the corner.
Again, upper right hand or lower right hand corner will allow you to get access to these settings for the Metro interface.
And then you just go change PC settings,
Oh, okay.
and it's all under personalized. So we can change the welcome screen, which is the first screen that shows up when you log in. We can change that to the piano, a little shell, something a little more cartoony, or we can also go ahead and then change the start screen. And if you don't like that, you can also go ahead and add, you can change your account photo as well.
Where do you set up your email account?
With your email account, there is a mail feature, but it seems that they might change in the future. At the moment, it works best with Hotmail. I've had some trouble setting up Gmail accurately with it. If you're really looking for email, like you said you were, Office 2013 with Outlook might be a better option, or just using the web interface for now.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, web interface.
I'd really recommend Thunderbird. I can't stress it enough. But yeah, the next one is the notifications. All the applications now have the ability to notify you of things. This can be both good and bad. For example, with the store, it'll notify you when there's new batch updates to be installed. You can choose to install them all at once, or you can set them to install automatically. You also have the Xbox Smart Glass. This interfaces with your Xbox system. If you have a friend on Xbox Live, for example, this would be more for the kids, but you'd be able to interact with them, and it'll notify you when they come online. ESPN, you can set it up to notify you of sports scores, to give you updates on the game if you're stuck working, unfortunately. And if you have more apps installed, those all have their own notifications as well.
And also, many of these settings will automatically update to your Microsoft account if you log in under that, and will sync over to other devices.
So once again, you have that unified experience. You can also, let me show you one of the best features of Windows 8. Anytime you're in the start screen, all you do, if you need to find an application, let's say for example I wanted to launch Microsoft Word, I can either go all the way over here and look for it, oh there it is, or I can just do this. You just type in the name of the application you're looking for. You don't even have to click anything. All you do is you go into the Metro interface and start typing. That's it. Let's say for example I wanted to bring up PowerPoint. Type in PowerPoint, even the first couple of words of it. All I have is power written up, and it'll go and it'll browse all the applications that have the word power in the title, and all you do is you click on it and it'll bring up PowerPoint. And then one of the things that's kind of interesting that I'm sure that you guys noticed, how fast is this? I mean, compared to waiting for Office to load on an older PC. Now mind you, Derek here has a solid state hard drive in his laptop, but still the launch time for these applications has been diminished greatly. The entire interface is faster, it's cleaner, and it's designed to cause you less stress with these constant loading screens, having to wait for everything. It's designed to be faster from the core.
One thing to note, I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, if you upgrade from 7 to this, will 8 run all the programs you have on your computer already?
I will not say 100%, but my experience is I have not had a single Windows 7 application that doesn't run on Windows 8. In actuality, if you're in the desktop mode, there's a compatibility feature in Windows 8 that allows you to launch applications in compatibility mode up to Windows 98. So applications that wouldn't run on Vista, applications that wouldn't run on Windows 7, that might have even had trouble with Windows XP once you upgraded, will actually run better on Windows 8 than any of those other versions because of this compatibility mode. Microsoft has really gone out of its way this time to try to make as many applications work as flexibly as possible, and the reason for that is they have a lot of older Windows XP users that they complain, I'm not going to leave Windows XP, I'm not going to leave Windows 98, especially in the corporate environment, because their applications don't work properly. With this new interface, with this new sort of compatibility mode layer that's built into Windows 8, you can have an old game that was designed for Windows 98 that just doesn't work anymore, and you can bring it back to life with Windows 8.
What does Pro do that the regular 8 doesn't?
Oh boy. That's
if you were upgrading, which one should you go to?
It really depends on your needs, and that's pretty much what the spiel that Microsoft would give you. If I was to recommend a version to you, I'd say Pro. The limitations are there's certain features that you'll be missing in the Home Edition, or that just won't work the same. There's little tweaks. Then you have more control over your system going with Pro. As far as speed, they're about the same. Most of the applications that work in Home will work in Pro. Most of the applications that work in Pro will work in Home. If you're really worried about money, go with Home. If you really want more control over your system, go with the Pro. It'll also add more functionality, like probably better mail functionality that we're experiencing problems with in this case. I mean, it's really up to you. The problem with the Pro versus Home argument is when you go to purchase a PC and it has Home Edition, many times the hardware might be better for the Home Edition than the Pro version. So even though the operating system is better, the Pro is usually more geared towards office work, so there won't be as much of a focus on better hardware because all you're going to be using is Word and Outlook.
I guess a good way of saying this is if you're using it for work, get the Pro version. If you're going to use it for home, obviously just stick with the regular Windows 8.
But if you were to buy a PC for yourself right now, it's going to come with Windows Home Edition. If you're going to get an Office PC, it's probably going to come with Professional.
And maybe I bought one recently and it has 7 on it.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, should I just leave 7 or should I go with it?
Do you know what version of 7 it has? Alright, here's the thing. Right now there's a limited edition update copy of Windows 8 that you can purchase for $59. The downside is it needs to be the exact same version of Windows that you currently have. So if you have Windows 7 Home Premium, you can update to Windows 7 Home. If you have any version of the Home Edition, you can still update to the Windows Home. But if you have Home Edition, you can update to the Pro from Home, but you can't update from, say, the Pro Edition to the Windows 8 Home Edition. But they added something in Windows 8 called the Anytime Upgrade that allows you to go from Home to Professional. So you can do that, you just can't go back the other way.
I'm sorry, you had a question?
No, I had an observation. When I loaded Windows 8, under 7 I used to use Mozilla Firefox all the time. And under 8, Firefox seems to be having a problem keeping up. And Explorer seems to work much faster and better.
Let me give you some advice. The easiest solution, go download Google Chrome. It'll save you a lot of headaches, and they have a Metro version available already. So if you wanted to download the Metro Beta from Google, you can get that. And then if you wanted the desktop version of Chrome, you can get that as well.
If you want to work with Firefox, they are coming out with a Metro version of Firefox as well, which might work a little better. If you're having some other issues, I could probably maybe talk with you later after the session and maybe see if I can iron out some.
It just seemed like every day that Mozilla was saying we have a reinstall.
Yeah. No, they're having some trouble with Windows 8. Do yourself a huge favor. Click on it, go to Properties, click the drop-down for compatibility, and set it to Windows 7 for now. It'll work just as fine, just as smoothly, with a lot less of the issues. The problem is in Windows 7 there were a lot of hacks that were left over from XP and Windows Vista. And in Windows 8 they really wanted to focus on making the operating system faster, so they cleaned up a lot of the hacked code from the earlier versions that create a couple of compatibility issues. But those hacks are re-implemented when you go back into the compatibility mode. And a lot of these applications are built around working with the error as opposed to reporting it to Microsoft and having it fixed. So Windows 8's better, but in being better, many times it causes a few problems.
There's another thing, when you load Windows 8, it does print the list out and says that all these things will work, but down below it has that you either have to reinstall these, or in the case of Nero, I had to buy the new Nero.
Alright, Nero Burning ROM. Oh man. It has compatibility issues with Vista and 7 to begin with. And if you are using Nero on those systems, they work, but it is notoriously slow. If you really want to use Nero, you're kind of going to have to tough it out. My advice, if you have Nero installed on your PC, do me a huge favor and find something else. It is way too big a program. They tried to cram everything into one install, and you know what it's like. It's slow to use even on 7.
And another thing to note is if you're having these issues with Windows 8, a lot of the applications are working to try to update themselves to fix these problems. So make sure you're on the latest version. I believe Firefox is on 17 right now. So make sure that's the latest copy that you have. Go to About Firefox, I think it's Help and About, and then try the latest version on there first.
And the other thing, while I don't necessarily recommend this, but if it's an application you really need and it's not working on 8, many times a lot of the companies will have betas that they'll put out that they won't release to the general public because they're not necessarily ready, but they'll fix a lot of the issues that are involved in the software. In any case, does anyone have any particular questions about Metro? Because I'd like to hand it over to Derek for the time being. All right, Derek's going to show us some of the changes to the desktop interface, as well as giving us a bit of a brief over as to how to bring back that start menu if you really can't endure with Metro.
And again, remember the corners. That's really kind of the whole key to get at working with Metro.
Okay. So this is the part of Windows that I use day in, day out. This is what I'm an expert in. So I'm going to share some tips and tricks from some of the things I've observed in Windows 8. So we're back at the desktop interface, as they call it. And as Wesley said, again, the same kind of charms menu that we had from the modern UI or the Metro interface are still intact. If I go to the bottom left or upper left corners, we have the same kind of functionalities or gestures that are still available. And if we go into the upper right or lower right, again, we get access to the main charms menu with all the same icons that Wesley showed earlier. So again, it's very easy, very simple. If you know how to do it in the modern UI, you can do it on the desktop interface as well. And switching between the two is very simple. If I turn my computer on and I go to the desktop for the first time, and I want to go back, and I got a thing on some shortcut keys on the back of the agenda, but the simplest way to go between desktop and modern interface or the start screen, just hit your Windows key. It'll take you between the two very simply. That's what I do personally. I just hit the start, I hit the Windows key, I go back to here and I search for whatever program that I want to launch or any files that I want to find. I really use the search functionality to the fullest extent on Windows 8. In Windows 7, I was kind of poking around still with my mouse and doing the whole organizing thing and putting everything in the right place. But now I search for everything I need to find, so I don't even care where my icons are.
So Windows, all keyboards have a Windows button. That if you have a personal computer of some sort, laptop or desktop, whatever you use, you will always have this. So it's always accessible to get to the start screen. Now there's 3 ways to get to the Metro and or I just wanted to off topic. Now, as we've expressed before, you can go to the lower right. You have the start button there. You have the sidebar, which you can go to the upper right or lower right. And then the start button here is what you're looking for to get to the Metro screen. Now you hit this, same way as you would expect. You can click back to go to the desktop by going to the lower right, or you have the start button here if you want to access it. Or, as he was mentioning, the Windows key. So those are 3 ways you can easily get to the start menu and or get back.
And that's the case for a lot of different functions in Windows 8, and we don't have time to explain every single way to do every single function, but you'll find as you start using it, if there's one way to do it, there's probably 2 more ways to do it as well, and you might find one to be faster or easier than the other. So it's a learning curve, it's a little bit of a trial and error process. See what you like, and you'll figure out what way works best for you. So one of the biggest things you'll notice, again, as I said, no start button. The taskbar is the same as it was in Windows 7. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is there is no little start orb as it used to be right over here. So it's just a full taskbar. It'll show it works the same way as it did in Windows 7. There's not too many changes there. But there are a few things I want to show you with the taskbar that are neat in Windows 8. So if I go ahead and I right click, I got so many things open here, let me close out of something here. If I right click on some free space on my taskbar,
which he doesn't have any,
and I go over to properties, there's an option here. Well, in the first taskbar area, you can change some of the settings here, like I can make it where I like to have my icons where they actually say the title of what the program is. You can change it here where it just shows just the icons themselves, so it gives you more space where you can have more things open, or you can change it to have the text labels. I personally like to have text labels myself.
Windows 7 also has this feature, but it's good to note.
Another thing to know is that just like in Windows 7, you have peek previews. So if you have 20 different programs open literally in your desktop interface, if you scroll over any of them with your mouse, you will see on the fly what that program actually has open at the current time. So that's another easy way to see what you actually have. If you have 5 Word documents you're working on and you don't know which one's which, all you have to do is use your peek menu and see exactly which one that you want to go to. And if you're peeking a program that has multiple instances open, as you see here with Google Chrome, it shows me side by side every extra instance that I have running. So it's not like I have to wade through all these menus. All I have to do is peek at it and find out which one I want, and then just go ahead and click on it with my mouse. It's that simple. Now, another nice functionality here are what's called jump lists. And I don't believe this was in Windows 7. It's a new feature in Windows 8. And this will go ahead and allow you to, for example, if I right click on Google Chrome here, it gives me my last 10 websites that I was at. If I right click on Internet Explorer, again, gives me some of my frequent websites that I was at, allows me to do some other common tasks here, open up a brand new window. So that's what's called the jump list functionality. And here's another example. For Word, brings up my 10 last recent Word documents. So instead of going into the Word like we used to, a lot of people that I work with are used to their recent documents area right within the program. Now you don't even have to go in there. All you do is you right click on your taskbar icon, take a look at the list of items you have, and you can go right back into that document you were working on previously. So again, just making your life a little faster, a little easier to use the interface.
You have to be at the desktop for that.
Yeah, this is what I'm showing here. This is only on the desktop interface. So this is traditional Windows, as we call it.
So what Wesley was showing was the Metro interface, which has its own applications built in, and then there's the desktop side, which you know and love and use, and you could basically you can get away completely from Metro if you don't want to use that and still use the same old desktop that you're familiar with. And we'll explain alternatives that are available to kind of get rid of it or change it or that sort of thing.
Yeah, so how much you use of either interface is up to you. If you like the modern UI more and you would just want to stick with that, you can use that. But I personally, I'm typing emails all day. I'm working, managing my business. So I'm in the desktop interface. I'm comfortable here. And to be honest with you, it's outside of having to launch my programs from the start screen. It's the same experience as we've all been used to. It's not that different. Outside of these few things that have changed, it's not going to be a shockingly different experience for you.
That doesn't mean that what was done to improve Windows 8 is completely different. I mean, it's going to be start up faster. It's going to shut down quicker. It's been reworked to work better, work faster. So it's a better operating system, but it's a different operating system as well.
One thing people ask me already, some of my users, customers that are on Windows 8 already, they couldn't figure out how to make desktop shortcuts. So this is something that Microsoft made a little tougher, and again, because they want people to be using the modern UI. But if you want to make a desktop shortcut for yourself, all you have to do is go into the modern UI and go ahead and you can either just search for it, as Wesley was showing earlier, or you can just find the actual tile icon for the program. So for example, I currently don't have a desktop shortcut for Publisher 2013. All I have to do is right click on it, and I have two options. If I want to make a desktop shortcut that goes not on the taskbar was that lower area underneath the traditional desktop that I was on, we can make an icon on that taskbar just by selecting this option here where it says pin to taskbar, it'll go ahead and put it in the taskbar, and then we can take advantage of those peek menus that I was talking about. But if you want just a traditional desktop icon, all we have to do is go over here to where it says open file location, minimize any windows you have open, and then just drag a copy of that shortcut for yourself onto the desktop. So all it does is launch Windows Explorer, show you where the actual icon is, and it allows you to dump it onto your desktop for yourself. So yes, you can make desktop shortcuts galore. I don't recommend it. It slows down your computer a little bit, but if you do need to, you have the option to do so. So that's my quick spiel on how to make shortcuts for yourself.
Does pinning it to the taskbar at the bottom, like on the modern UI, because that was an option, is that faster then?
I probably would. I probably would pin it to my taskbar, especially because, again, then you get the peek menu functionality, and you can launch multiple instances a lot easier. I mean, it's up to you. If you want it at the bottom of the screen, I would pin it. If you want it on your desktop, just throw it there, but it just depends on what kind of functionality you're looking for.
Like for me, I usually keep anything I always use on the taskbar, so I have it pinned directly there. I don't use the Metro UI or the new user interface as much as I want to. I'm being a little honest on that front. It's much more touch friendly. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to use it for a tablet. I am going to probably pick up a Windows tablet, and after using it on the demo unit, it is a much more cleaner and easier to work with. And there's categories it belongs in, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can't use it on a desktop. So I mean, Metro is primarily for tablets, but it's still good for desktop PCs as well. It's just going to be a little bit of a different experience.
Windows Explorer got some changes as well, and Windows Explorer is what we use to access all of our files on our computer. So I made a little My Computer shortcut because I'm an old school user, so to say, and I love that icon just to have the quick place to get out all my items on my machine. So that's the same kind of My Computer that we had in Windows 7 and Vista and all versions previously. So this is actually a program in Windows, and there was never, it was always called Windows Explorer, but so this interface got some changes, and primarily the biggest change you'll notice, if you go ahead and expand this top bar here, you'll see that it has the same kind of what's called ribbon functionality like we know starting in Office 2007. So it gives you the options, nice and easy, icons, easy to read, easy to find at the top here, and it divides them into logical sections. So what used to be hidden under those file menus and all those illogical placements under all the menus that there used to be, now they divided it and just made it into a simple ribbon. So if I go ahead and I want to do something simple like go into my control panel, under the computer tab, there's an open control panel item. And all the other options that used to be under those different file and tools menus before. There's a view tab that you can go to. I actually like this option a lot. If you have a folder that has a lot of pictures in it, you can quickly change between the different kind of view options for yourself. Before, that used to be about a 2 or 3 click process. Now you can preview that on the fly for yourself. You can change your sorts easily. So if I wanted to sort by, for example, what kind of file type it was. And again, I'm not in a location where there are files, but if I go into here, for example, so here if I did a sort by file type or sort by size, it would go ahead and change the layout for me. So again, just making those items that we know and love a lot easier to access for ourselves. And you can also get to folder options here for yourself to change some of the default settings for Windows folders. If I don't like the ribbon, if I don't want it up all the time, simply just minimize it using this little arrow, little caret here, and it'll bring it back. And then if you specifically click on it, it'll bring it up. Click on it again, it'll take it away. So again, that minimalistic approach is a very key aspect to how the traditional desktop is now handled. And at the top here, this is another feature that was brought in from the Office 2007-2010 series. You have a quick access toolbar. And this is something you can customize. It has some of the most common buttons that used to be all expanded on that toolbar, from the old versions of Windows, delete file, create new folder. Now we can simply just add a little icon for ourselves. So for example, I have a quick access button for new folder, so I don't even have to go right click or do new folder or go file new folder. All I do, click there, makes a new folder for me. Again, if you need that, you can leave that icon there. If you don't want that functionality, just click on the little customize caret, deselect it, and it takes it away. So again, it's fully customizable, up to you. If I wanted to delete something, I could use this little delete key here. It has an undo, a redo option, and just a few other things that you can turn on. But again, just some of those most common functionalities and buttons that people usually need access to. So that's now accessible right on the quick access part of Windows Explorer. Okay? Any questions on Windows Explorer or some of the ribbon things I showed? That's probably the most radical change about the new traditional desktop.
Can you start a new file with a folder?
A new file into a folder?
Well,
I just made a new folder here, as you saw.
Yeah, but you put that into a file. And then
Yes.
way up in the left-hand corner, the blue thing there, that's a file. For this, the new folder you just made up?
I didn't put any file into that folder. I just made the new folder just to show everyone how it works.
Okay.
But if I wanted to put something into there, I can go into the new folder and make a new Word document and save it there. Or whatever I wanted to do, whatever I wanted to put in there. Okay. One of the other new things that it's been around, it's called a Task Manager, and this is probably something that most people have used anytime we have a program that sort of that crashed on us or stopped working. We know the Task Manager because that's how we killed programs in the past. It's still around, it's still there, but it got a lot of improvements, and I'm going to show you some of those changes that are in the new Task Manager. So again, we can go ahead and we can search for it if you want. I'm in, old school IT guy, so I do the Control-Delete and I do Task Manager from here. But either way works, whatever you prefer to use. So I'm going to minimize this. So by default, this is how Task Manager looks. If you don't care about all the technical nitty-gritty, you can go into Task Manager and kill off any program that's running very simply. You don't have to be any kind of technical expert like you used to be and find the name of the program and the technical code, how the program's actually running behind the scenes. Now Microsoft said, hey, let's just make it a simple icon. If I wanted to kill, for example, ESPN, highlight it, end task, and that's it. Very simply. Click and end it. If you're interested in more details, if you're used to the interface that has all the options on it, it's gotten quite an improvement. And they've included things like showing you how much processing power, very simply, every single program is using in your computer. So people call me and say, hey, my computer's running like a dog right now. I just don't know what's causing it to be so slow. I probably will lead them into the Task Manager, ask them to go into here and find out which program here is using up the most percentage of all the options. So very simply allows you to have more control and allows you to see what's going on behind the scenes without being an IT person like we are. So again, just makes it a lot easier for you in comparison to how the old Task Manager was very cryptic in how it did things.
You can also see some of the Windows apps that, the Metro apps that are available there as well that you can kill off. So.
And the same thing, you can see how much processing power something's taking up, how much memory. Again, you'd probably only go in here if something's acting up or you're having a problem with a program. But again, it shows you that you can have that capability and easily see what's causing these issues for yourself. If you go into the Performance tab, again, a very visual interface, makes it easy to go ahead and see. Out of all the memory I have on my computer, I have 6 gigs on my machine. How much is being used right now? How much of my processor is being used? Again, these were things that you could find, but unless you were an IT person, it was kind of hard to understand. Now it's very visual, very simple. If you can understand a bar graph, you can understand this interface just fine. You can see a history of all the recent programs that you've opened, all the statistics around what they've done on your computer. Again, this is some information you may not be interested in, but if you're trying to investigate a problem, this might be useful for you. Another thing that's been made easier, you can go into here and you can adjust all the items that start up with your computer. This is something that you'd have to go into a little bit more of a cryptic menu before to adjust. In Windows 8, it's a lot easier. You can go into Task Manager and simply enable or disable any of these options for yourself. So if you know that your computer just is running so slow, you've installed all these programs and all these things are starting up on your machine, you can go in here, disable those items, and take back control of your computer experience. That'll just show you all the users on your computer that are logged in right now, and then a details area to show even more technical information. Again, most people won't be going into there or services, but you do have the option of doing so if need be. And if I wanted to go back to the simple interface, just click on the little fewer details option right over here, and it'll bring it back to simple mode for you. So you don't have to have any kind of tech experience to figure out what you want to close off and kill on your computer. Okay, so that's the new task manager. Yes?
And the task manager where you went into startup and you can disable what,
yes,
any of those. Can you, is there an option to delay startup of those?
Within here, I don't know.
Usually it requires a third-party app to do that. I don't know if there's a particular way to set that natively in Windows.
Through the Task Manager startup area, no, you cannot delay startup for them here. You'll probably have to go into the more advanced.
I know Dorton has it. I just thought that maybe since you disabled here,
no, that's one thing you can't do from this interface. You'll have to get a more advanced.
That would be
program
nice
to
if they
handle
did have that, but sadly, that they did not include that.
Is there a reason that you have to delay startup on something? Is there a particular program that gives you issues if it doesn't wait long enough?
What will happen is, say that when you want to start up faster, and you have a lot of stuff that will eventually start up. Delay will keep it so that until you use it, it won't open up. Enable it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's an instance where you do something like that, but for most people, that's really not a necessity.
But
so.
Like if you don't use iTunes all the time, you would delay iTunes Helper from starting up.
Okay.
I definitely agree with you. That's actually one thing I wish they sort of included, but that currently, natively, they do not support it.
Okay. So moving along. I want to show everyone some of the control panel items that are new or improved in Windows 8. I'm not going to go through everything. We've all owned personal computers, and you've seen most of the control panel aspects, but I want to show you what's different in Windows 8. So very simply, if I want to get to the control panel, top right or lower right, go into Settings, click on Control Panel, and this will bring me into the full control panel menu where I can see all the different options. By default, for most people, it's going to look like this. It's going to bring it into category view. I personally like to change it into small icon or large icon view, just because I'm someone that likes to see everything at once, and I'm a graphical, tabular view kind of person. So I'm going to show it in this view for everyone.
Again, what's important to note is this is the control panel for the traditional desktop, not for the Metro interface.
Okay, so some of the updated items, or different items, in Windows 8 within the control panel here. The first one is devices and printers. Relatively similar to how Windows 7 had it. This is where you would go to configure or handle any of your printers within here. However, as I said in my introduction for today's presentation, the devices and printers area makes it a lot easier to install things like printers. I don't think you'll have to use that CD that comes with your printer anymore. They've bundled most of that functionality right within here, so you should be able to just plug in the printer and it'll either install itself on the fly, or you're just going to use the Add a Printer button up here and it'll ask you what kind of printer is it? Is it on the network? This one's doing a search for all of our network printers right now. But again, it's been improved to make your life a lot easier and reduce all those hassles that we used to have with all those custom printer installation CDs from the past. Family safety. This is a new one. there was sort of a beginner's version of Family Safety. I forgot what it was called in Windows Vista and Windows 7, but they've really beefed it up to the point where you really do not need a program like NetNanny, especially when I said in terms of web filtering, you can control based on a scale. You know, if you have small children that are going to be using their computer, you can adjust their account where only kids' websites should be allowed. Nothing, you know, pornographic or questionable material, things with swear words. The filters are very good and they're updated behind the scenes on the fly. So Microsoft really did a good job implementing web filtering for these parental controls that they have here. Time limitations, this is also a nice feature. If you have a computer that's shared with kids in the home and you say that you know, little Timmy shouldn't be going and playing that game after 8 o'clock at night, he should be in bed, you can set that game to not be accessible after 8 o'clock. Or you can say that there should be no internet browsing accessible after 10 o'clock. You know, they can only browse the internet up till 10 and after 8 a.m. So again, you can introduce this what's called time restrictions for certain programs on the computer. Very nice for parents that, again, that kind of functionality was tough to do in previous version of Windows. Going back here, there's a new option called File History. And File History is a feature that's really along the lines of Time Machine. If you've used an Apple device, Apple computer with Time Machine on it, this is pretty much the same thing. You're going to specify what kind of drive, extra drive, like a thumb drive or a SD card, as I have plugged in here, that you want to go ahead and save these virtual backups or copies to. And this will allow you to literally go ahead and have multiple different historical versions of any file you worked on. So say you have a long document or thesis that you're working on in Microsoft Word and you made a big mistake by deleting, you know, the last 4 paragraphs. File History will allow you to go ahead and revert to an older version. Maybe you know that, you know, the copy that you had from last week was the best version. This will allow you to restore that, and then you can go ahead and keep working on the version that was correct. So it's just like Time Machine, and it allows you to have that seamless history of the files that you have on your computer. And you can specify what kind of files it should be backing up. If you only wanted to save historical versions for just your Word files or just your PowerPoint files, you can adjust that within this file history area. I'm not going to go through the full setup. I just want to make you aware of this feature so you can leverage it and take advantage of it on your own computer. The next one I wanted to show off is called Storage Spaces, and this is also a brand new feature within Windows 8. And Storage Spaces is really neat because it allows you to take, for example, multiple flash drives that you may have, and you can plug like 2 flash drives into your computer, and you can then make that one big like hard drive for yourself. So instead of them being 2 separate small flash drives, they'd be considered one large flash drive for you then. Or any combination, a flash drive and an external hard drive. Any combination of external storage devices that you have in your home or that you can plug into your computer is potentially capable of working with the Storage Spaces feature. So it's neat because, especially for people that have a lot of multimedia, videos and music take up a lot of space now, and if you have a few drives laying around or 2 external hard drives that aren't that large, you can combine them and make them one big drive, so you don't have to purchase new equipment for yourself. So it's an easy way to get more life out of your out of the hardware that you may already have lying around the house.
You had a question?
Yeah, when you pull that stuff, and in my case, like I have an external hard drive, that if I'm someplace else, it's still at home.
Yes.
What happens with the pool? Does it?
It's not accessible unless all the drives are plugged in. So that's the key. It doesn't get lost. It just, until you plug in all.
Go out there looking for it and cause you problems. Or...
No. Windows 8 knows when the storage spool is not available, and it doesn't make that file accessible then.
Okay.
So yes, this is something that, you know, while it's a nice feature, you got to be mindful. If it's a laptop you're working on and you're going to make a storage pool out of an external hard drive and a flash drive, be mindful that when you go away from home, that's not accessible unless you bring that stuff with you. So I think that's more built and tendered towards desktop home computers, the towers, things like that, that don't necessarily move. But you can use it on a laptop if you wish, if you know, doing with flash drives and things like that.
So that shows up in your File Explorer
It'll be a new drive. So you're going to set a drive letter. So it'll be like your G drive or your F drive. It'll just make a new drive letter, and that's going to be your storage pool for whatever devices you specified. Okay?
One thing to keep in mind, if you do set up a pool and one of the devices fail, you should always keep backups of all your files, especially in a case like this where you have multiple components to it, because if one drive fails, you'd lose that portion of the data. The rest of the pool would still be intact, it's just you'd lose those files.
Okay. Windows Defender. This has been around since Windows Vista, but it's been improved. I have it turned off because I use a professional antivirus product on here, not 32, but if you don't have a professional antivirus product and all you want to use is Windows Defender, you're probably going to be okay. I'm not going to go out and recommend it because I still do recommend a full antivirus product like ESET's not 32. But if you don't want to spend the money for that, Windows Defender not only covers malware now, but it also covers viruses. So it is technically a light antivirus and anti-malware program. They've beefed it up. It's pretty decent. I don't think it's great, but if it's all you have, at least it's better than nothing. So it will protect you from about 70 to 80% of the threats that are out on the internet today. And that's turned on by default, so even if you just go out and you buy a computer, Windows Defender is on there and working and loaded, and it'll update itself automatically, so you don't even have to worry about it if you don't want to mess with that, okay? Yes?
So, I always get these messages or read somewhere where it says, don't be running more than one
Yes.
program at a time.
Yep. So that's why my computer disabled Windows Defender as soon as my NOT32 got loaded on. So yes, almost any antivirus program that's made today, it's smart enough to turn Windows Defender off as soon as it gets loaded on. But as I'm saying, if you buy a computer and it has nothing on it, Windows Defender is up, it's running, you don't have to worry about not being protected with something when you get your new machine. Okay?
And that's a lot of times people don't necessarily focus on security, and just having this built in is just less of a hassle, but it's not necessarily a foolproof method. So you always want to have an extra antivirus just in case, but if you want to focus a little bit more on speed and whatnot, you can use Windows natively. So
the Windows Mobility Center, this was around in a similar fashion in Windows 7 and I believe Windows Vista, but it's introduced a few new features in Windows 8. This is meant for laptop users. This is like a one-stop shop for anything you need to do regarding your laptop when it comes time for a presentation. For example, it makes it easy to connect to an external projector. So for example, since I'm connected to our projector here, it says disconnect display, but if I was setting up for a presentation, I could go in here and use these options to quickly get myself up and running on the projector. And similarly, power options, sound. So some of those things that, when you're in a time bind and you just don't want to go out to different places to find, go into the Mobility Center. It will provide you a quick little display interface for all the common things that laptop or mobile users are concerned about. And the last one I wanted to show off is Windows Update. I know everyone knows this has been around for quite some time. It's been around in this fashion since Windows Vista and Windows 7, but in Windows 8 it's been made even better, because previously in Windows 7 you had to specify what time you wanted to check for updates. Windows 8's even smarter now, and it goes ahead and finds its own time to check for updates. So all you have to do is specify what you want it to do when it finds updates, but you don't have to, for example, if you have it to check for updates at 9 o'clock, and your computer is turned off at 9 o'clock, it's not going to do that check. That's not an issue anymore because the Windows is handling that behind the scenes more akin to the way that Apple has done it in the past. So again, updates should be a lot more seamless and should be applied without as much hassle as they used to be in the past.
Another thing, this should also update Windows Defender. You should have things that apply or pop up saying Windows Defender security update. So it will continue updating. Microsoft will continue updating the native built-in antivirus that's on there. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean you should go without a separate antivirus.
So again, those are some of the new changed control panel items. within Windows 8. Obviously, there's so much more that we could have went through. I would say play with it if you have a new Windows 8 system. Just go into the control panel, have a look at some of the options here. There's something I didn't even go over, this BitLocker drive encryption. If you get the Pro version, one of the things that Pro offers over the Home Edition is you can go ahead and encrypt like a flash drive for yourself. So if you lost that flash drive, no one would be able to get your data off of it unless it was plugged into your BC and it had your password typed into it. So that's a security feature more for traveling or business users. But if you get Pro and you want to use that, you get that BitLocker drive encryption feature. You could even encrypt your entire laptop hard drive. It's going to sacrifice some performance, but again, if you lost a laptop with a lot of confidential information, at least it wouldn't be accessible to anyone that would get their hands on it. So that's a nice security feature that you get. You got a question?
Yeah, can you load Windows 8 onto Android tablet?
No.
Well,
simple.
You can potentially load Windows RT, which is the tablet version of Windows 8, onto an Android tablet, but the drivers would have to be supported by the device. So in theory, kind of, but not necessarily. That and a lot of these Windows RT tablets are a little more beefed up from these $100 Android ones.
I have a HP touchpad running WebOS.
Oh god, no, it's too old.
I do, yeah.
No, it's WebOS. Honestly, WebOS is fine. I think it's a beautiful operating system, but no, that tablet is like 3 years old. There's no way you're gonna get Windows RT to work on it. I don't know. Check.
I have Android running on mine, but I'm not aware of
you
RT.
think DS8 on a WebOS tablet?
Oh no, that I'm aware of.
No,
I'm just saying.
You might be able to get Android on your tablet though. You can try that. But as far as Windows RT, check the development forums. I don't know how you get a license for it. That would be the biggest problem.
But Windows 8 works on a Mac. Wesley
Yeah.
uses it on a Mac every day.
No,
so.
I've got Server 2012 and Windows 8 working on my Mac under virtualization. I could do it natively. It does work on Macs. It will work on pretty much almost any PC.
Nice. What was that about Linux?
Linux? Under virtualization, yes. Or you can use Grub and Dual Boot.
It's a little bit of a harder process, but it's possibly doable.
It can be done.
I want to show off some of the shortcuts that I personally use the most that might make your life a little bit easier. And there are 3 of them I placed onto the back of the agenda under the section where I said best shortcuts to remember. I want to show you exactly what these shortcuts do. They're easy to use, they're easy to memorize, and they will make your life that much quicker on Windows 8. So the first one that I like to use, Alt-Tab. If I do an Alt-Tab, you'll get a nice screen that shows everything that is running at the current time on my system under the traditional desktop. So I don't believe that Alt-Tab works under Metro or the modern UI, but definitely works under the desktop view. So again, I have all these different apps open. If I hold down Alt and then just hit Tab then, you can see I can quickly scroll through all those items for myself. Some people like to use the peek menus. Other times I like to use the Alt tab. It's up to you, whatever you find easier for yourself. Windows key and the letter X. If we do that, you'll see that this will bring you a little interesting menu in the lower left-hand corner. Might be a little tough to see for some people. But this is like a list of all the most important areas that you might want to get to that otherwise you'd have to go through the control panel. It would take a few clicks. For example, if I needed to get to command prompt quickly, I could just click on that. If I wanted to get into device manager to check on hardware on my machine, I can go into power options on my laptop. I can go into the programs and features area to see all my installed programs. So again, it's just like a little quick menu that you can go into for some of those common items that generally take a few clicks to find.
You can also use the mouse by going to the lower left-hand corner, and you'll see the Start button. Rather than doing a left click, you do a right click, and it'll prop up the same menu. So many of the actions that you can use the keyboard, you should be able to use the mouse as well.
And the last shortcut, everyone should know this because I bragged about it before, is just simply hitting the start or the Windows key, and hitting that takes you back and forth between modern UI and the traditional desktop. That's the one I use almost every single day, multiple times a day. It's the best one because, again, anytime I need to find something, I hit Windows key, I start typing what I'm trying to find, and it brings it up very quickly for me. So make search your best friend. It's very nice. It's integrated very well within Windows 8. And the nice part about it is when I search for something, I can then search within different areas of my computer. So for example, if I wanted to do a search for anything system, right now it's just showing an app that has the word system in it. I could go into and search settings, so anything with the word system under settings, and also I can search for files. Some cryptic files here, but there are some things like my Windows 8 flyer right over here. I can just bring it up and it has a nice clean interface for all the items that include system. So again, I would get used to searching for items because it's a lot easier than plucking through and clicking through all of your folders to find them. I think this is definitely a lot quicker and simpler.
It's a lot similar to the functions that Google used to put out called Google Desktop Search. It's really similar, just that Microsoft has decided to integrate it right into the operating system.
And the final trick I want to show everyone is how to get back the start menu. So I know some people don't like that modern UI, so I'm going to show you how to stick it to Microsoft and get back what they took away from us. So there's a few of these programs out there that are free. Ted was telling me about some. Wesley's got his own that he likes to use. I merely found this one because I thought it represented what Windows 7 looks like the closest. So all you have to do is either go to Google and search for this program called Start Menu 8, or I gave you the direct link to download it from the company website, but I'm just going to do a Google search for it really quickly. So I'll just search for Start Menu 8. All one word. Do not separate it because you will not get the right search result. First option that you get will be the program from IOBit. It's a completely free download. Just click on the green button. It'll take you to this technician's website where they host this piece of software. All you do is click on one of these download locations here, and it should launch the download for us. Sped up a little bit. There we go. Save it. It's a very small download. It's this particular program is only 3.2 megs. Should take you a few seconds to download, and as soon as it's done, you can install it. I'm going to show you exactly how it looks. Yes, yes, yes. Finish. Gives you a few pointers for how it works, and then look at that. Bottom left-hand corner up. You can't see it that well because our projector cut off a little bit, but if I click on it, it is the traditional start menu. So if you don't like modern UI, install a little program like Start Menu 8, and you have access to the same kind of menu that you are used to from the Windows Vista and Windows 7. Some of the resources for Windows 8 that I put on the back of the agenda, these are the places that I found provide some of the best information. If you leave today and we didn't cover something, or you forgot to ask the question about how to do something in Windows 8, you'll probably be able to find an answer in one of these locations. The first one is the official the Microsoft tutorials page for Windows 8. They have a lot of great videos showing demos of exactly the things we did today, but further in depth, very detailed videos. I want to install my printer. I want to change my display brightness. They will show you step by step on the screen, and you can watch it, pause it, and replicate exactly what they did on your own computer. So it's like a little YouTube just for Windows 8 tutorials. There's an official Microsoft support area for Windows 8. I included that link for everyone. If you're having issues, go into there. It's got a lot of information. You'll probably be able to fix your problem within that area. They have all the different help articles. Again, more in depth of how to do things, or if you run into any issues with your system. This website, this lynda.com that I put on the agenda, this is a third-party website, not run by Microsoft. This is a website that just does tutorials on almost every piece of software that's made for the computer today. And they do very, very great videos. They have a section just for Windows 8 training. They pretty much have, from start to finish, everything you can do in Windows 8, all the new functionality. And again, very detailed videos. And I think it's generally a paid website where a lot of the videos are paid, but I think the Windows 8 area is free up until like mid-December. So go onto there, have a look. The tutorials are excellent. I've used them in the past. They're very, very well done.
They are indeed some of the most professional I've ever seen. So if you do want to learn Windows 8 and these videos are free, I highly recommend taking advantage of it.
And then, of course, I put up our YouTube channel for our company. This particular class is going to be posted up there this weekend. That link will be emailed out by one of the library staff early in the week. But we have all kinds of other recordings up there from all the Google Apps series classes that we've done. We've done computer security classes here at the Park Ridge Library and Niles Libraries. There's a lot of great classes that you might have missed. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can sift through all that history of what we've done in the past few years and watch that at any given time for yourself. And the final two things I put on here, the recommended antivirus program that we like to recommend. I know people can get into battles about what they like for antivirus, but we tend to recommend a program called Nod32. It tends to be the best in terms of price and performance, as well as how many pieces of malware and how many viruses it catches. It's about as close as it gets to being 100% in terms of protection. There is no such thing as 100% protection, but this is as close as you're going to come.
And regardless of what you're using, either be it a Mac or a PC, even to some degrees, iPhones and Androids in the future are probably going to be more susceptible to these sort of attacks. It's always good to have an antivirus.
How much is that?
Nod32, it goes by yearly subscription. So for 1 year, it's about $40 plus tax. 2 years, it's about $55 plus tax or so.
It's well worth the money.
Also, if you need to find it really quickly, you can just go to our website, firelogic.net, and under services, you have the Windows version and the Mac version. So you can just go to our website and grab the link for it.
And then in terms of backup, some of the features that Windows has built in are nice, like the file history feature that I showed off, where you can save multiple copies of a given file. While that works pretty well, there is no true replacement for what we recommend now in terms of cloud backup services. And the one that we like to recommend is CrashPlan. We find it to be the cheapest and most reliable solution out there. So you've probably heard of Carbonite. They advertise on the radio all the time and newspapers, but we like an alternative called CrashPlan. It tends to be very cheap. You can back up your whole computer for a whole year to the internet for about $30 or $35. It's dirt cheap and very, very good, very stable. We like it a lot.
And it's always good to have, just in case your home might have a flood or a fire or something. God forbid happens, you'll make sure your data is backed up as well. So.
And so I wanted to highlight quickly some of our upcoming classes that we're doing locally in the area. We'll do a Q&A very quickly after I get through these few items. We offer, if you don't know about this, the second Saturday of every month here at the Park Ridge Library from 9 to noon in the 3rd floor computer lab room. We do free open tech help desks. So if there's something that you want to ask us about, if you have an issue with your laptop or your mobile phone, anything technology related, we're here for 3 hours the second Saturday of the month. You can ask us whatever you want. As long as there's not a line of people waiting, you can come in and get free tech support. I mean, this is what we charge $75 an hour for. Outside of that, you come there the second Saturday, you get it totally free of charge. So you have our expertise at your disposal. We're also starting that same sort of thing at the Niles Library starting in February of 2013, where we're going to be offering 2 hours of free tech support over there. So bring your laptop, your computer, e-reader, whatever you have issues with. We'll sit down with you, we'll work with you, we'll make sure it's working before you leave.
What if it needs parts?
If it needs parts, that's somewhere we'll have to talk outside of the realm of the tech help desk. But if you come out, at least we'll do a consultation with you and we'll find out what it is that's needed and we'll tell you how much it's going to cost to get it replaced. Okay? It's a good service. We've been doing the tech help desk now for about 1.5 years and it's been growing. I mean, we're at the point where we almost have lines going out the door sometimes. So it's pretty heavy. If you come early, you're more likely to get us, be sure you get a seat with us and have, a good 15-20 minutes of time to speak with us about your issue. We got a few, actually I want to do Q&A before we have a few giveaways we're going to give out to everyone. Not to everyone, to a few people. We don't have that much free stuff to give out. I wish we did. But questions, any kind of questions that anyone has about Windows 8, anything?
Can I install it myself?
You can install it yourself, yes.
They have.
Would I ruin everything? Okay.
They have tried to make the process easy. The install process is supposed to be, as they say, it's the least amount of clicks compared to other versions of Windows.
They've made it very easy. Pretty much, you put your CD in, you make sure that your computer boots from the CD. Most of them do from the manufacturer. And then once you're in the interface for the setup, it gives you a little installation. It'll move over your existing user account, all your files, everything, all your programs. And in theory, you shouldn't lose anything. One thing to keep in mind, if you do decide to do it yourself, run out to Walmart, Best Buy, grab yourself a portable hard drive, and copy your hard drive, or at least the files on your hard drive, over to the portable hard drive, or you can make a backup using the Microsoft Backup utility.
So
Always.
If I start doing it and then it doesn't work anymore, is the first part lost, or is that still on that disk?
What happens is, like I said, if you take a
Yeah.
backup, you don't have to worry about it. Most of the time, it will complete without an issue. But if you don't feel safe about it, you can either meet us one Saturday for our help desk, and we'll help you through it.
Thank you.
Or you can call us to your home, and we'll do it as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
How do you do a backup? Can you show us? Or is that too hard?
I suppose.
Yeah, I can show you how to do a backup from here. So within, if we got to go back to the traditional desktop,
Okay.
we're going to go into. Oh, that's because I need to turn off my.
Yeah.
But then you have to buy a separate C disk to put that all on. Right?
Not necessarily disks. If you use a portable hard drive, like an external hard drive, they cost a lot less than going to.
Oh.
They can cost about $50, between $50 and $80, and it'll probably back up your entire computer. It's a good thing to have because then you always have a good, clean copy of all your files in case something goes wrong. Updating isn't the only reason to have a backup. A computer can fail at any time.
I will talk with you after the class, and I will give you, I will send you the information for the backup, because I must have turned off the option for the backup on here because I just can't find it right now. Of course, in a live demonstration, you can't find what you need. But stop me after the class, and I will get you the right information. What was that?
Can't you just do it through Windows Explorer?
What, the backup?
Try doing a quick search for. Did you search for backup at all?
Oh yeah, and it
not
wasn't coming up for it. You can do a traditional. I mean, if you just want to if you just want to copy files to an external drive,
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as you plug in your other drive. So, for example, we would open up. So this would be like your external hard drive here, this screen here, and then I wanted to go ahead and copy over whatever files I wanted to back up to it. It's as simple as finding those files. So I'm going to go ahead and I will go into my documents area. So if I had more documents here, this is all of the documents you had saved. All you have to do is highlight the items, and you can go ahead and right-click, drag it, and then you can do copy here.
Oh, okay.
So that's the simplest way to do a backup.
Let me
Thank
do the
you.
backup real quick. All right, the easiest way to get to the backups, if you need to, you have the this icon in this lower left-hand corner. It's a little blurred out. If you open it up, it'll bring up a window, and all you do is you go to Computer, right-click, Properties, and then I'll try to remind myself real quick, Action Center, and there'll be an option to do a backup if you did turn it off.
Yeah, I turned something off that I shouldn't have turned off.
No, it would be right here in this menu under Action Center. Wow.
So you have two ways. You can just drag the files for yourself, or you can go in and use the the actual backup program that I was having trouble finding right within Action Center.
I believe Windows 7 should also have this backup feature with this as well, which should back up your most important documents.
Oh man. Oh, you could do that as well. Like one option, once you're under the control panel, you can just click recovery here, and you can choose to create a recovery drive, and this will go ahead and make a full backup of your PC to a portable hard drive, so that would work as well.
This is once you have Windows 8.
Yeah, you have to have Windows 8 installed first, but Windows 7 has a really similar process that works almost as well. And it's actually in the same location, so.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions before we give out the goodies? Go ahead.
Did they really take away the DVD player? 'Cause,
yes. Let me give you some advice. Download VLC player. It'll play your DVDs for you.
what's it called?
VLC.
VLC?
VLC, B as in victory.
V,
VLC.
okay.
Yeah. If you Google that, it's a totally free program. It bundles all the files you need to watch DVDs, and you can watch DVDs and any other kind of movie file off the internet with that one single program. It's very nice, very easy to use. What was that?
There's no media player?
There is media player, but they don't bundle the DVD, what's called the DVD codecs, to watch the DVDs. So if you popped a Hollywood movie in without VLC, you won't be able to watch the movie because they don't include the license to watch the DVD. It's a licensing thing, and they didn't include it within there. Yes?
Now if I clean up my email file and I delete them, when I do a complete copy, are the deleted ones on there or they're gone for good?
Say that you said email.
Yeah.
If you deleted your emails? And what program do you use to check your emails right now?
7. I'm Windows 7.
What? But do you use the Windows Mail program on the computer?
The Yahoo Mail.
Oh, so you access your email right over the internet.
Yeah.
Then you don't even have to worry because that's already saved on Yahoo systems. That doesn't even get saved on the computer itself.
Okay, it doesn't.
Okay? Yep. When you upgrade, it will nothing. Even if you make a mess of the computer, your email should still be safe. As long as you access it through a program like this, like a web browser, like Internet Explorer, then you should be fine. Okay?
Go ahead.
Yeah, aside from the two questions ago, is there any functionality in Windows 7 that you lose when you move to Windows 8?
Oh boy, the start bar, what you can get back, but that's really about it.
The start bar and integrated DVD playback, that's about all I can tally.
Everyone finds a little thing that they don't like about the next version that they liked about the previous version. We have one person that comes to our classes that refuses to upgrade to Windows 7 because he likes the photo viewer from XP. It's something about the way it zooms. It zooms in both versions, but he doesn't want to use the new feature. So everyone's going to find something.
Yeah, in terms of raw functions, I don't think anything else was taken away. Things are changed, but Microsoft has not taken away any major features from 7 to 8 that I know of.
There is only one more.
What's that?
Media Center.
For those, that's a gray area to begin with.
Those who use Windows Media Center, you can get it as an upgrade pack. They have that as an option where if you buy or have Windows 8 now and you go to their site, you can register for a key to get the upgrade for free till January, I believe they said it was. So you can theoretically get Windows Media Center back if you use that.
Who here uses Media Center on a regular basis?
Go.
Thanks. So for the most part, I think everyone will be fine with Windows 8. I think I'm the only one in this room that's ever even used it.
Yes, go ahead.
I had a question on backup. It's actually from Windows 7, but when you do create system image, then there's also part of system create startup disk or something like that. Is that startup disk different for each time that you do that, or is if you create that startup disk once, that's just only for moving?
A startup disk is more of a utility just to fix your computer if it goes haywire. It's not any kind of backup.
Right. So if you make one of those the first time you make a system image, and then a long time later you make subsequent system images, if you just have that one disk, that would be enough, right?
It only brings you into the screen where you can restore from a previous session.
Right.
My experience is you can't physically reinstall the operating system from that disk.
So what it'll do is the backups are stored on the actual system, and this will just bring you into the menu for it. The problem with that is, I recommend doing a full backup to an external drive, because what a lot of viruses will do is with those system restore points, it'll flush them all out once it infects your system, and then there's no way to roll back. Go ahead.
When you do a full backup like that, does it back up programs too, or just files?
It's supposed to it really depends what you set it to back up. You can set it up to back up your entire computer. There's really no point to that, because there's almost no way you're going to get that to work again in that state.
I have a laptop that's getting ready to crapping out. I want a new one. I want to get everything onto the
I would just have it save your data files, your documents, your photos, things that you can't get back by a reinstallation.
But there's programs on the old one that
you're going to have to find either downloaded installation files for that or find the disks for that. You can't really move installations between computers. That's never been possible.
And that's more to do with copyright and like make sure that they're validated and everything. You used to be able to do it, but it really hasn't been since like '98.
Any other quick questions?
Do you recommend to buy that $200 insurance when you buy that?
The what? The which insurance?
PC insurance.
PC
Best Buy, like Geek Squad insurance.
Oh, that insurance?
So
don't ask us about Geek Squad.
Okay, here's the thing. It really depends on your comfort level. Many of those warranties are for up to 2 years. I know here's the way to think of it. If something physically goes wrong with your computer and it's the fault of the PC, the manufacturer insures it. In almost every case, don't quote me on this, you have to check with your manufacturer, for 1 year. The Geek Squad will give you the insurance up to 1 year, 2 year, in some cases 3 year. But the fact of the matter is your PC is probably going to start failing after 3 years. So this isn't really going to protect you from viruses or any sort of infection on your PC. What this is for is if the hardware fails. Now, if your hardware starts to fail on your laptop, it's going to be when that warranty expires. So honestly, I'd rely on the manufacturer warranty. If it's acting buggy after 1 year, you can still get the Geek Squad insurance. I'm positive of it. But it's,
And in many cases, you should be able to call up the manufacturer to extend the warranty. I believe many, like Dell and HP, offers an option to where you can call them up before the 1 year period and then get an extended warranty if you feel like
that's the only warranty upgrade we recommend to customers is the manufacturer's warranty. We don't recommend store warranties because the manufacturers have both faster turnaround and they use quality original parts, unlike Geek Squad sometimes will throw in third-party cheapo parts on machines. Yes.
Yeah, and on top of that, one thing to keep in mind, Best Buy is actually in bigger trouble than most people think. And if in the event that they do go under, that warranty most likely will not be valid. So
they might be bought up by someone. They will not extend their
kind of like Circuit City.
That's why the manufacturer's warranty upgrade is a lot better, because no matter what happens to Best Buy or Office Depot or Staples, you can call up HP or Lenovo and they will give you service no matter what. They are not going out of business.
They have great services, especially with these manufacturers. Dell's very good. HP, I've had 2 HP machines. I had one of them fail. They replaced it with a model that was 2 years newer, no problems asked. Also, if you do buy a laptop, don't buy it from Best Buy because they have a 20% markup. There's a website. It's called NEW. Yeah, it's Newegg, as in the breakfast item. NEWEGG.com. You can find the cheapest laptops from every manufacturer. You're not going to be boxed into any sort of commission, and you get to read reviews for every single one of the laptops as to what other people think of it.
And the other thing, if you really want some kind of warranty, some manufacturers, especially Dell and Lenovo, 2 that I like to recommend, they have on-site warranties you can get where they actually will come out to your house, do the work for you at your home, and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't even have to go to Best Buy to get the work done. They come out to your home, they bring the part with them, and they do the repair right on site. That is the best kind of warranty to get, and you can only get that through the manufacturer.
That might be an extra cost though. Yeah. So bear in mind. But I assure you, getting a warranty through the manufacturer, spending a little bit more money on it, you're going to have less headaches overall. I myself have used it a few times.
And in addition, if you are out of warranty or you have an older PC that you do want to upgrade, we do offer upgrades to Windows 8 through our standard PC repair service. You can give us a call too. Our cards are in the back.
All right, thank you.
And if anyone needs service, we offer a library discount, flat 10% for any new customers on labor only. So feel free to reach out to us if you need any support. Or
Retail store somewhere?
we have an office in Uptown that you can come visit. It's by appointment only, though.
In Uptown?
It's just down the street on Northwest Highway.
Yeah, do you guys do house service?
Yes.
Yes.
We do on-site for home and business. 75 an hour,
and
correct.
10% off for all of you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, now we got some freebies to give away. We've got we've got 2 goodie bags. So we've got one with a tank top for females and one